Please listen carefully.
Welcome back to the Focus Target podcast. Today we've got a very special episode of Focus Target. It's season 3, episode 83, and we are going to podcast while we are streaming Deep Rock Galactic. So if you are with us live on Twitch, you can watch us play. We're going to chat and play. If you are watching us, or if you're listening to the podcast after and would like to watch the footage of the game we're playing, that will be on YouTube. So we'll put this on the podcast as well, so you can just listen to us if you only care about the talking. But just know that it's going to be a little bit of a disjointed one because we'll probably be referencing things that are going on in game as we play. So we're just going to kind of have a conversation. With me today, as always, are Shy and Van, and also our special guest Z. So welcome, Z.
Woo! Hello.
It's Rock and Stone.
Good to be here. Yeah, Rock and Stone, everybody.
If you don't rock and stone, you ain't going on the podcast.
Oh.
Topical.
Shit.
You know, you're always such a gatekeeper. It's always about tap the balls and you don't get to go on the mission. Tap the dice. Be a rock and stone. Like, let's just
don't mock the dice. Don't mock the dice.
You know what I think of the dice. All right, so we'll get into it first, but before we get into the actual podcast portion, should we talk about what mission we're doing here so we can actually get playing?
Yeah, so I have one available or required, and it looks like you have one required. These other two guys do not have one required according to my map. So what would you all like to do?
I haven't picked up any weekly stuff. What are you working on?
Well, that's another thing. I could just abandon my secondary gun, and all of us can be on maybe weekly, if you haven't done it yet.
Weekly core hunt? Or...
Yeah. Weekly core hunt. Or
like
assignment.
Weekly boar hunt.
Although Smiley's not a bad... Yeah, Smiley's not a bad enough dude. He hasn't been playing enough.
Alright, so we can do weekly priority assignment or weekly core hunt? We'll do our weekly core hunt.
Yeah, why don't you guys do whatever works for you, and I'll just tag along.
We're gonna order a round of beer to commemorate the occasion.
All right, weekly core hunt. Do you guys have putting together the freaking droid things?
I think we all have the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's the same one.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Are we doing this easy mode since we're gonna be semi distracted?
We shouldn't go too hard.
Yep.
Yeah, we shouldn't go too hard because we are going to be I'm going to be asking questions and we're going to be chit-chatting maybe a little more.
Doing Hazard 3 anyway, too bad.
Well.
Yeah, well that is easy mode, right?
That's true, it is kind of easy mode. When was the last time you lost a Hazard 3 mission? Alright, so we're all set up here in our game. Those of you watching.
Got a round of beers. Got a
You
round
can
of
enjoy.
beers for us to commemorate.
Oh, wow.
Hold on. Just when I thought we were going to rock and stone.
Well, I thought
You don't
Sean
wanna-
suggested the beers earlier.
Well, nobody said anything.
That reminds me of my
Yeah, nobody
first
said
one.
anything, exactly.
Cheers. May your beards be
Didn't even cheers. That's...
Oh, gosh.
This
Here goes our copyright infringement because I forgot to turn off streaming jukebox. So.
What? That's because that's that famous Coldplay song that's playing right now.
Hurry up! We're leaving!
Smiley, can slap it? Smiley?
Smiley,
slap it.
Smiley, slap
You know better than
it.
that.
Smiley.
You know better than that.
Smiley?
Well, okay, I guess you can lose a level 3 mission.
The door slapped it on its way down.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, don't give in to peer pressure. That's the Smiley PSA for the day. All right, well, you know, we are also doing a podcast, and we always start our podcast with the question of the day. So today's question of the day is, what is your favorite memory, gaming or otherwise, with Z, our special guest? And then Z, for you, the question will be, what is your favorite memory, gaming or otherwise, with each of us?
I've already taken notes. I've already put down 3 items to talk about.
Oh my God,
so
really? Wow,
Yeah.
you're
Wow,
waiting. Well, let's
prepared.
start with you.
Yeah.
You're the
He's more
special
prepared
guest.
than we
I'll
are for our
kick
own
it off.
podcast.
That's right. Well, that doesn't take that much.
That's true.
All right, so what do you got, Z?
Oh, I guess I'm starting it off.
I'm calling your bluff on that. Do you really have things prepared?
Well, I have 3 things. First off, let me introduce myself because my hosts were not kind enough to do so.
Why would you not let him? Why would you not give him time to introduce himself or introduce him for
Well,
it?
that's like what the podcast is about. So
All right.
Like,
well,
but go ahead, please. Be my guest.
I am Z, aka Fearless Leader, aka Doobie. I have known these jokers for many, many years. We all met playing Final Fantasy XI way back in the day. I am currently a senior systems engineer at Riot Games, as well as a department tech lead. I've been there for right about 7 years now.
7 years already? Wow,
yeah, it's been
dude.
7 years. Yeah, no, it's nuts. I've been there for more than the game has been around at this point.
That's wild.
Or not more than, but more than the
works.
halfway point. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But yeah, no, it's oh wow, a helmet right off the bat. But yeah, no, I've been there about 7 years. It's been a ton of fun. Lots of insider information I'm not allowed to talk to people about, but I'll try to do what I can. But for the things that I remember the most, the first off the bat has to be the True Might fight that we did on Final Fantasy XI back in the day.
Oh, Divine Might?
Divine Might, there you go.
Yeah.
And part of that was just, I died on every fight we ever did until we did Divine Might on my monk, and somehow I outlasted everybody and was sitting there just countering and dodging everything the thing did, and everybody kept yelling at me to just die, and I couldn't. And it was awful, but at the same time it was a lot of fun, and I remember that a lot. And then,
That was a good one.
yeah,
I was
down
there
the,
for that.
yeah, down the list, being a toxic bard in merit parties. So our team would sit there and try to farm XP and merits, and my entire goal was to annoy all of the other parties and teams to the point that they would all run away and leave us to farm. And I was very, very good at doing that. I got many angry direct messages saying that I was being an awful person and that I should kill myself and all those things, and I just responded with smiley faces.
Well, we had a rule, right, where you couldn't respond, or you wouldn't respond?
Don't respond.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That was the policy. Don't respond.
That was the most I would ever respond, was with the smiley face. But even then,
Right.
we took over most camps. Every time we went somewhere, we would eventually be one, maybe two parties that were still left around. And yeah, like, being a toxic son of a bitch was one of the things I remember about that game. And playing with you guys Sunday mornings. And the last one, which is more touchy-feely, is the fact that the main reason I am where I am today at Riot Games is because I got into Linux, and one of the reasons for that was I started a Minecraft server. For all of you, it's been probably 12 years since we started playing Minecraft together. Like, I don't play very often anymore. I kind of burned myself out hardcore on that game a long time ago. But,
It's easy to do.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was... starting that Minecraft server is essentially what really kicked off my knowledge and my love for Linux, which turned into it being a career at some point. So yeah, like, I have all of y'all to thank for making me put that together and then eventually making it a reality.
You still rock the Minecraft server too.
Oh yeah, no, I have a dedicated
Yup.
like build node that's sitting in my living room, hooked up directly to my modem that is hosting that Minecraft server right now.
Yeah.
And we still use it to this day.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that is, I think, the biggest memory. Just because, you know, it's had a huge impact on where I am today.
All right, very, very good. So let's go around and maybe we can share our memories with Z. I'm gonna go first. The memory I have of Z is, you know, before I started hanging out on a regular basis with some of these guys, I hadn't really met a lot of people from
Earth?
Yeah, well, from like the Final Fantasy, like we were all friends in Final Fantasy 11, but like we hadn't really gotten together yet. Like I hadn't actually met any of you as real people. And
Wow.
And then Z, when he moved across the country from the East Coast to the West Coast, was passing through, ended up passing through Denver and stayed with me for the night. So I remember when Z came over and just like Like he just basically needed a place to stay as he was coming through, and we went.
Oh, that's right.
We went to Smash Burger, and I totally fell from a large height. Sorry about that. I'm dead. Forgot about fall damage. But so we went to Smash Burger, and we played some Magic the Gathering, and we just kind of hung out, and then he crashed on my couch, and in the morning he was gone. But I still remember how cool it was that, for somebody that I only basically knew in game to actually come out and get to meet him in real life and get to know him a little bit. And then, obviously after that, we kind of started hanging out in real life. More of us, like we started having, I had Shy and Rido and Van out, and that kind of became more of a regular thing to have us meet up in real life after that. So I remember that as being a cool experience.
Yeah, it was a little interesting and weird setting up like a 5-day road trip from South Carolina to California, and like staying with you, staying with my sister, staying with my dad, staying with Shy and Rido, and then eventually ending up. I don't even remember how I looked when I finally showed up on your doorstep, Van, but 5 days of driving in a stick shift automobile across the country, it really takes it out of you.
Yeah, that's funny because I think you stopped at everybody's house who's on this thing right here. The ultimate destination, of course, being ours, or my house over here in Southern California. So, that's funny. I remember we had a box of pizza waiting for you when you showed up. And we had a whole bunch of stuff that we got out. I got, what was it? I think we were working on Siren server, and I got one of the hard drives out of the back of your car because you came over with a whole bunch of stuff in the back of your car. So yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of servers in the trunk of my car that I didn't trust with the movers.
Right.
But yeah, and again, thanks to all of y'all for my career I didn't have a job when I moved out to California, but I crashed with Fan here for almost a year. It was almost a year, and I got a job with another company in Irvine before Riot picked me up.
Yep.
That wouldn't have happened if I would have just stayed in South Carolina working in government.
Inspirational story for us all.
I remember.
Moved to Fan.
All right, so I was gonna put this as like a gaming memory because there's no way I can pick an overall memory. Like you mentioned, we lived together for like a year. We don't have a long enough podcast to figure that one out. So, but gaming memory wise, I remember for some reason I don't know why it stuck in my memory, but I remember the first party I ever had with Z was in Yatunga Jungle, and that's a weird thing to remember. Because you don't remember, I can't remember the first party I had with anybody else, period. But I don't know why I remember it with him. But I remember he was on his White Cat Mithra in Yatunga Jungle, and we were partying together. And he wasn't even part of the party. He was just there to hang out with us. And I just remember, I don't know what it was, but just chilling with him, and he was out there doing Z-related things and helping, clear the area and all that stuff so that we can get as many mobs as possible, like he did even when he was in our parties. But I don't know why that is so distinct in my memory. It makes no sense because it's so insignificant, but yet became a significant part later on for some reason. So call it fate, if you will.
If I remember right, I think you were in a party with Azzy.
Yes.
And I was being my my protective older brother self, if you want to put it that way. But I was basically running her through, and I was following her around with like White Mage and Bard, and just power leveling her and other people like Ben, aka Rona, to get him to a point that everybody could kind of play at the same level. But yeah, no, and then like that happened a lot where I would be helping out Ben or I'd be helping out Azzy, and then we would meet people, and then Winter's Reverie kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's probably not my fault, but I probably helped contribute to getting people into the group.
Yeah, I think that's certainly true. So, and then outside, one of my favorite memories is when he spilled an orange mango boba on my stairs. trying to go up the stairs of my house.
You know, there are some things you just don't talk about in public. One of those is how clumsy I am when I'm holding a liquid.
Let me try to paint a picture here, right? So we went and got some boba. Z ended up getting like an orange smoothie boba. Mango. Sorry, yeah, mango. Like a slushy kind of thing. And he's walking up the stairs and he's all excited. I don't know, we were going to play video games or whatnot. And as he's walking up the stairs, he just forgot how to climb stairs, missed the step, and freaking like tried to brace his fall. But of course he had the smoothie in his hand, so he braced his fall with the smoothie, which which slammed right into the step, projected upward like a freaking shotgun blast or a rocket ship, and there was just orange mango all over the stairs and like Z's face and everything.
It was literally everywhere.
Everywhere, dude. Everywhere. It exploded.
It was like weeks later, you'd be like, oh, look, there's some mango on the ceiling up here. Yeah.
That was good.
I am not a very coordinated person when it comes to being excited and running upstairs.
Oh, it was fun.
What about you, Shy? Do you have any Z-related memories?
Yeah, I think obviously the cross country trip was pretty awesome. I don't think we did anything super exciting or Z. I don't remember like if you brought your like computer, if we played some 11, or like I think we went to a restaurant here, Copper River Grill, but you weren't here long. I think you were here one night. But I was gonna say the Divine Might fight, which Z already took. So I'm gonna say something else that's a little bit lower key, and I always remember Z's. Was it Papori? Was that the class in or the race in Terra? I always remember his Papori Lancer.
Oh God. Yeah,
Wait,
awesome.
was it Ellen? You were an Ellen Lancer?
Yeah,
Right. Well, I always remember your Lancer.
The little squirrel girl. Oh yeah, squirrel.
Just running around with that giant lance, tanking stuff. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the short time it feels like we played Terra were pretty fun times, even though it didn't last.
I miss that game so much. Like, I can't get into it like I used to, but like just tanking as a Lancer in that game was so satisfying. Just counters and blocks and timings, and you had to keep a lot in mind.
We've got a couple of mule legs here. Where's the other mule?
It might be up this hill.
Not only that, did you guys go to the secret box yet? Did somebody drill down there?
I have not. No, I heard someone. It sounded like someone did activate it.
Smiley, would you mind drilling down to, if you open your scanner, that little purple kind of plus mark that's by itself? Oh shit! Squad of blower upper people. Okay, there we go.
But now it's your turn, Smiley. Tell me how great I am.
Yeah, it's kind of kind of weird. It kind of
memory for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Z wants more praise. Run.
Wait, hold on. You only have one story of how great he is.
I feel like in comparison to everybody else, you were very lacking.
You know how hard it was to come up with one story?
Wow.
Oh, it looks like he's going a different direction, Van.
Oh yeah, he's taking that route. That's cool. That works.
Listen, we're just going straight down.
You know, Smiley. Come on, man. He's always just does his own thing, and
can I activate it? Can I claim the loot?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's individual.
Okay.
But yeah, like
I'm trying to think of when I first met you in 11. I think it was we had a Winter's Reverie dance party on the beach in Valkyrie Dunes.
How was I not a part of that?
And I thought you were. So everybody, like, basically, it was like right after it was like the day I joined the guild. I was partying with a couple people from Winter's Reverie, like Marla Singer and
Joe Reno.
Yeah, Joe Reno. Yes, that's right. And they invited me to the group.
Good old
and I joined it, and then you guys were all like, they're like, oh, we're having a beach party or something. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you should come. Everybody will be there. You'll be there.
Whatever LARPers.
Van probably wasn't cool enough to get invited.
No, I was probably too cool to be invited. I'm like, I'm not gonna LARP with you nerds.
He's still not cool enough to be invited.
I'm probably still too cool to be invited.
Van, I'm sure you didn't mention it. I'm surprised you didn't mention a Second Life. memory.
So
Oh my God.
that was certainly my go-to. Oh man.
It's not safe for work or kids.
Yeah, I don't
Or
even know.
podcast.
I don't know if there's a single story I could tell where we wouldn't have to.
I would have talked about it as well, but I'm not sure what the maturity rating on this podcast
Right,
is.
we'd have to-
Ask that ahead of time.
We'd have to
Depends on
bump
the
it up.
platform.
What is this over here? What's this all about?
There's an event here, but I think we might need a drill to.
Hey, is there anything in this wall that has this purple stuff coming out of it, or is that just all biome?
No, I think that's just stuff. That's just yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right.
How do we get up to that section?
Where are you? Where is Z?
I am zip lining up to the top area. I put a zip line near
That's smart.
the main driller thing,
Oh right, gotcha.
where there is a little mini mule here.
Is that where those legs were? I saw the legs on the map. I just didn't see where. Ah, yes.
It looks like somebody was up here at some point.
Most likely me.
But yeah,
All right.
like Van and I, without going into any kind of detail whatsoever, because
There's
both-
nothing you could say.
Yeah, there's not a lot we could say without being very offensive, and Mitsu-chan isn't here to defend herself when it comes to things like hydras.
Oh man.
But we had a habit of challenging each other, and then being like, "I bet you're not going to play Second Life tonight." And they're like, "Oh, you know what? Like, what? But you're not going to play." And then next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. We both been playing Second Life together, finding a bunch of random stuff, and it was ridiculous. Everything from being Canadian Mounties to the Kool-Aid Man, to hanging out in clubs.
Slides to nowhere. Yeah, getting shout outs in clubs. Oh
The
man.
slides never worked.
Well, that was the charm of the game, is that the game didn't work. Like the game was terrible.
That's entirely fair.
Oh man, and that's where the fun came from. Like, how's this game gonna mess up tonight in such a hilarious way?
Yeah, and it did on a very often basis.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that was a good time.
All right, so what you got, host?
Well done. The mule is working again.
Thanks, host.
My favorite memory with Z as well is when the mule was working.
That's my most recent favorite memory.
Well, Z, I know, as you mentioned before, you can't really tell us a lot of, not necessarily, there's a lot of things you can't tell us, perhaps I should say, but what can you tell us about, what's going on at Riot and what's maybe on the horizon, things people who are familiar with it, maybe tell a little bit about your company, the company you're with, for people who don't know, and then, what should people be looking forward to? What can you tell us? What inside information do you have that you can share that maybe people don't know?
Yeah, so I guess right off the bat, so as I mentioned earlier, I started at Riot right about 7 years ago. It really doesn't feel like it's been 7 years, but it is what it is. So there is... Riot Games was Riot Game for quite some time while I was working there. League of Legends was the only game we had until about a year and a half ago, where Legends of Runeterra came out. But speaking of that, Legends of Runeterra had a codename internally called Bacon. That's what we called it for many, many years.
Best codename ever.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I still call it that from time to time, just from habit more than anything. But it was scrapped the day I started at Riot Games.
Huh.
My very first task was to decommission and remove all of the servers that were related to Legends of Runeterra, aka Bacon, because Hearthstone had just come out before I started working at Riot. And if you're familiar with Legends of Runeterra, it's a collectible card game similar to Magic the Gathering. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend playing it now that it's actually out, and there's a mobile version of it. But we didn't want to compete with Hearthstone because it literally stole the entire market right off the bat. So it was deemed, not worthy of release at the moment. It wasn't good enough to compete. And that was my first thing, was destroying the second game that Riot Games was working on. And then from there, it was just League of Legends for a few years, and then magically, Bacon started making a comeback. Hearthstone was losing popularity, Magic was regaining popularity, and people thought they could make something that could really compete in the market and be fun. So, one of my things was helping to spin back up a lot of the servers that I decommissioned when I first started. The whole Circle of Life, Lion King, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so we're getting that game came out just a year ago at the beginning of the pandemic. Unrelated to the pandemic, we were already planning to release a couple more games, and up till today, we have Legends of Runeterra, we have Teamfight Tactics Mobile, we have Valorant is out now, and it's a strong competitor to CSGO. And it's a hell of a good game if you ever want to play a first-person shooter that's tactical-based. And yeah, like we have on the radar some things I can't talk about, but I was telling Ben earlier that Wild Rift for North America released earlier today. That is the mobile variant of League of Legends. So you can get that on, like, I'm not promoting, by the way, I'm just letting you know. You can download it right now on the iPhone App Store as well as the Android App Store. And it's supposed to be probably our most popular game that's out there now, second to League of Legends.
Really? So they anticipate this game to be bigger than Valorant too?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And the name of Valorant is up for debate. Our CEO calls it Valorant. I call it Valorant. But it's games are what you make of it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't semantics.
Yeah.
Oh, Nikes.
But yeah, so especially in Southeast Asia, where there's a huge mobile market. Like for instance, Japan. We released League of Legends in Japan about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and it did okay, but we're talking a few thousand people playing it at a time, versus somewhere like Europe or somewhere like Vietnam, where there's 300,000 people playing it at a given time. But when mobile comes out in Japan, which it has just started, we're anticipating very similar numbers to the desktop client, because people don't really own or play PC games in Japan, but they do play a lot of mobile games. Some of that was just poor planning from the original League of Legends standpoint. But yeah, no, it's supposed to be the biggest game we put out because of the amount of mobile market that's out there, which the US doesn't have a lot of, because we're not huge on public transportation, we're not huge on just having those moments where you're on your phone and you don't have access to a computer.
Some states they've made it illegal to use your phone in the car.
Yeah, why? That's ridiculous.
With that?
Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
So let me ask you a question, because some on this podcast hold the opinion that mobile games are not real games. Where do you stand with that statement?
I would say it is fairly accurate from the aspect of a lot of the games we get are all based on ads, and they're all based on the gacha system. So it's like roll for your character. If you get it, cool. If you don't, just keep giving them more and more money for random chance. That's been the major market that's been in the US, and it's not it works and it makes the company a lot of money, but it's not sustainable in the long term. People spend a lot of money and then they stop playing and they don't have a reason to come back. Wild Rift is not a gacha game. It's League of Legends. You can earn everything through gameplay. The idea is make a sustainable and constantly updated long term instead of trying to just get money and then move on to the next thing.
Right. I kind of feel like that same. There's a lot to be said there about how what killed the MMORPG market in the US as well. Is kind of a similar aspect. But I appreciate you saying that, yeah, in a way they kind of aren't real games, because my co-hosts here always give me crap when I say that about mobile games.
I mean, he also plays like that Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, Defu.
Like, yeah, you know, and that's...
You were gonna say Record Keeper, but I haven't played.
Oh, okay. Record Keeper.
I miss Record Keeper. That's a great game.
But yeah, like mobile in the US is not based on like a gaming platform. It's based on like a money platform. How do you make more money? Just because the market isn't there for making like an actual legitimate game experience in the US. Like we don't have a great public transportation that people spend a lot of money on it, or a lot of time on it. Sorry, not a lot of money.
I mean, is it fair to say just the U.S. though? I was under the impression that gacha games were very popular in Asia as well.
They are very popular there as well, but there's also a lot of games that aren't gacha. The gacha is popular everywhere just because people love gambling and it's addictive. People want to spend money and be the best. But there's also a market for like mobile RPGs and things like that that are popular. Most of the RPG major licenses you can think of have mobile games out there. We can play the full game. Final Fantasy 15 is one of them. And they're more popular in Southeast Asia because of the greater amount of time to play them. And greater reason to play them, because you're on a train for an hour, why not play something on your phone? You can get on the thing, by the way.
Only if you slap the dice on the way in.
Yeah, no, I slap it every time, alright? Because I'm
Yeah,
not,
no, I know you're because you're a decent human being.
Yeah.
I'll slap it for Gubs.
Smiley, the host of the podcast.
Yeah, and then there's the last one that I can touch on that's been actually announced, and that's the MMORPG. That is not something you should expect to come out anytime in the near future, because when it was announced, it is still in infancy. It's not like we announced it and we're saying it's going to be out in a month. We're announcing it and we're saying it's going to be out in like 5 years. The teams are still being put together. I am actually on the list to be brought in as like, I guess maybe a tech lead on that team, but it is a thought process at the moment. It is by no means in production, being rolled out soon kind of thing.
Well, as soon as you get on that team, you got 3 beta players here at least, ready to rock, or pre-alpha players ready to rock and roll.
Friends and family is a great thing. And if
It was. I remember I got into Valorant that way.
Yeah, and if anybody's listening to this and thinking, maybe I qualify for friends and family, if I don't know you and I don't trust you, I'm sorry.
Right.
I can't give you a code. So please, like, I know I dropped some details at the beginning of this, but please don't reach out to me and beg.
No, we're gonna get our Twitter blown up because of you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I get a lot of messages from people already, and it can really wear down on somebody having to tell people no all of the time.
Yep.
You know, if you just said yes a couple times, you wouldn't have to say no all the time.
That's what friends and family.
Try saying yes.
That's what the yeses are for, friends and family.
You know, my wife tells me I'm a no person, so I understand how you feel.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on one second. Z, can we switch classes? I want to level my NG.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Oh wait.
I'm not on NG.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
you switch?
No, it's okay. Never mind. Stay NG then. That's what you want to rock.
No.
Wait, so you were okay with Z switching, but you don't?
Yeah,
want to switch?
well, Z has everything like maxed out characters. So if you're working on your NG, then that makes sense. Like stay
No, I
on
mean,
your
I
NG.
was just playing it. I was just playing NG.
Oh, okay, then yeah, I would like to unlock deep dives on my NG at some point.
Cool.
Tell you what, Shyrol, I'm going to change to NG. Please get the hell off of it, and then Van.
And then
I'm
I can-
gonna take my
perfect.
NG. Yeah.
I like
Let's
it.
all change. Let's do like a carousel. All of us change a class, and
Quotas and
Switch it up.
objectives to fulfill. Let's get it done.
You don't want me to change. I barely know how to play this class.
That's fair.
wait till you see me play Scout.
What the heck's turret whip? Let's see here. What does that do?
It's where you
Yeah.
you hit your turret and it causes the next attack to do more damage.
Do you mean turret whip?
Whip.
Turret whip. Okay.
Z, is there a I thought I saw a screenshot the other day on a gaming site that there was like a
Damn, it's smelling.
traditional RPG, League of Legends themed RPG coming out at some point. It looked very much like Battle Chasers Night War, but with like a League of Legends flair. I don't know. It may have been a leak that was on a gaming site. So if there's nothing like that, then that's I don't know. I remember seeing the screenshot.
The only thing I can really say about that is there's there's a lot of things in the back pipe at the moment. There's a game that I was greatly looking forward to that got iceboxed about 2 years ago. I don't really want to go into details in it because it was never released to public, but there's right now. It's not hard for someone to look up the fact that Riot has bought a couple of companies, and there's the potential for some of those genres to come out in the near future. I'm not gonna immediately right now tell you what to look for because I want to
Right.
make sure I don't get into gray
Yeah.
area as far as
Yeah,
my
let's stay away from that
company
as much as possible.
Yeah.
but it's there's a lot of stuff in the mix, let's just say any genre that's out there is not safe. Let's just put it that way.
That's awesome. That's good to hear.
Like a typing
So you do-
game? League of Legends themed typing game?
It's the next typing of the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing a side scroll beat 'em up genre.
No,
I like it.
that's
I know Chai likes that. Yeah.
A gotcha game?
one of the biggest old tenets that we had that it's been loosened up a bit, but it's something people care about is when we're thinking about or making a new game, one of the bars we want to hit is the phrase genre defining experience. We don't really want to make a game that's just for the sake of making a game. We want to make something that kind of adds a new flair to the market. It's like we put out a card game. How is a card game a genre-defining experience? But a lot of that came into things like the attention to detail, the lore, the background, feeling like when you're playing a card, it's a fun experience and not just I put a card on the table. And that's a lot of what we're trying to aim for. Is by the way, there's a pearl in the corner. But we don't just want to crank out games. We want to make something unique and fun, and give people a reason to use it.
Sounds like a good goal.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I always wondered too, like when you first got the job on a personal note as a friend, I was like, that's cool, but like Riot has one game, right? What does that mean for your career? Like, yeah, you can get a good solid few years in, and then being around gaming so long, eventually, the spark's gonna wear and whatnot. It could have been further from the truth with regard to LoL. Like, it's still extremely strong. It's still like one of the #1 streamed games, period.
It's still somehow the #1 most played game in the world, even though it's over 10 years old now.
Yeah, but it's awesome to see Riot venture into other things as well because of the quality of product they produced. It's kind of like following one of your favorite bands, right? And they come out with their next album or something. In this case, it's your favorite developers, and you just know that they're not going to put out junk product. So whatever they're going to dig their hands into, at least I'm excited for.
Yeah, and I think that's like even working at Riot when I first started thinking like League of Legends is the only game there, and it's the only game that's going to ever exist in Riot. Like I don't think when I first started, I thought I was going to stay for very long. Like I thought it'd be fun. I'd play. I'd improve things a bit on the tech side, and then I'd move on. But there's something to be said for seeing the direction of the company and like the things they want to do, and like more games on the horizon. And like you could call this propaganda or you could call it hype, but just seeing someone stand up in front of the company and say something like, "Today we're Riot Game, next year we're Riot Games," kind of it adds a level of motivation that really makes you want to hang around. And I mean, to top all that off, there's a lot of really smart people that work there. I get the whole what do they call that, where you always feel inferior to everybody else? It's
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter complex.
Yeah, imposter syndrome. There you go. And it's funny because I talk about that to candidates all the time, and for some reason I can't think of that word now. But like there's like you realize some of the people you're working with and how much you can learn, how much you can grow, even if it's one game or 5 games or 10 games. It's a bunch of people that continuously want to make things better, and it's addictive. It really is. I don't go a day without thinking, how can I make myself better in order to be able to match up with the rest of the people that I work with? And like it kind of shows. Like I've come a long way in 7 years. I keep getting better and better and better. And I'm just going to keep doing that same thing until I feel like I've hit a peak, and I feel like I'm really far from that.
I got the deposit.
That's my monologue. So do with that what you
You want a
will.
monologue? First of all, what exactly are we doing? You know, you guys seem to know what you're doing a lot better than I do.
We're gonna pop a dreadnought from an egg and then kill it.
Yeah,
If you
when's
look
that
up,
gonna happen?
we're basically doing a boss fight right now.
Right. Yeah, no, I know what the mission is. We're all kind of like milling around, so I wasn't sure what
I
the
just
like.
got a pearl,
am I-
so I mean, I think there was still stuff to gather and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
You're getting that pearl. You know, if you would slap the dice, you'd have better understanding of what's
No,
going on.
no, I
That's a
would
good point.
not. The slapping of the dice would have done nothing.
Oh, look, somebody spawned it. Dang, that's crazy.
Like the Matrix, you know, like you touch the dice and game knowledge just comes to you.
Why is
See,
it
we got
always a
worse.
glyphid?
It's because Smiley doesn't slap the dice.
That's probably true also.
That doesn't sound right at all. If it's always the glyphid, that means it's been the glyphid many times when I wasn't with you.
Ooh.
So
That's
that would
not always the glyphid.
Oh, I just
This,
Van's mic cut out. He actually said with Smiley, and I read it on his
Oh
lip.
dear God,
oh.
what is going
okay.
on here?
Well, I mean, somebody didn't slap the dice in the beginning, so.
Oh yeah, that's why we're gonna wipe probably.
Well, I'm sorry that you guys are unable to come to grips with your own inadequacies, and you have to find some voodoo to blame it on.
I have an imposter complex with this game.
So, what's imposter complex, but you're right?
It's where, like, you could be a very talented person, and you're surrounded by other additionally talented people.
I was making a joke.
Well,
I was
then-
saying, is it still called imposter complex if you're actually right? Get it?
No.
If you actually are an imposter,
Right, if you actually are terrible at what you do.
I mean, we're not playing Among Us right now, all right? We're playing a mining game.
Right.
sus.
Speaking of which, you should play Among Us if you have.
We should. I haven't played
That'd
it,
be- well,
and I've wanted
see-
to play it so much.
Can you really? Well, I guess you can play it with people you know. You just have to like, not, you know, like you don't want to be colluding, you know.
Right.
Like that takes a lot of the fun out of it. I think. Is if,
No, I think we can still keep it honest.
But yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. Is like I feel like it's meant to be played with people who aren't like talking outside of the game, but.
Oh, shnikey, squirrel! All right, you are about to become a rock star in
Am
this
I the
podcast.
only one
Gotta be.
No,
If I
you are
play
not
over
the.
again.
You are not
Not
the
yet.
only one alive.
I'm about to die again because I'm using Iron Will.
Yep, I
I'm
got you.
using Iron Will as well.
Okay, so you're up, but I'm down.
Okay, I am up.
I'm gonna die again as well.
Right, I am gonna try to stay away. Who's the farthest body away? You are, down here.
Yeah, I ran away, thank you.
Yep.
I'm pretty clear at the moment if someone wants to try and get to me.
Alright, I don't know who the MVP is, but
Woo!
dang,
We all are
that
the MVP.
was pretty...
I ain't
pretty
heard no
awesome.
fat lady fan.
I
Yep.
hadn't heard no slap die.
Yeah, I don't think I can be the MVP based on your guys' strange.
I don't know who the MVP is, but I know who caused the
You know who
problem.
it's not.
Right.
You know who it's not. Oh,
I know who's responsible for this.
I'm calling a supply pod because I'm gonna need ammo.
You do you, man.
oh man, is his shield back up?
God, this guy's so hard.
All right, shields down, shields down.
Do your worst.
I'm kiting him.
I don't know where he's at. Oh, nice.
He's down.
There we go. Oh boy, how about that? That got pretty hairy for a second there, didn't it?
Easy mode, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of the ammo.
Glad we chose the easy difficulty.
Alright, let's get the heck out of here and let's go find the other one.
Ammo.
It was back where Smile and I came from.
So, why are we playing Deep Rock Galactic?
Mm-hmm.
Why is Z on this podcast?
Because I hate this game, and you guys
Right.
make me play it.
So Z, no, hold on. Quite the opposite. So Z has a habit of introducing us into games
Red sugar.
and reintroducing us into games too. And it's, I don't know how he has this knack to doing this, but he just puts something in chat and then all of a sudden everybody comes together. Kind of like the story you were talking about earlier, Z, about how you're bringing people together in Final Fantasy 11.
I mean,
He's a uniter.
to be fair, I have an okay-sized Steam library of games.
Oh,
that I can
jeez.
check things around. I think it was like a very reasonable number, something like 1,400 games on Steam the last time I checked. So I like to think that I have a pretty good pulse, like a check on the pulse of the gaming industry from time to time.
So let me see, you're a senior software engineer.
A systems
Doesn't-
engineer.
It
Okay.
doesn't
No,
explain that. None of that explains why you keep getting us back into Final Fantasy 11.
Because no matter how many MMOs you play, you still realize that 11 was one of the best
Yes,
experiences
it
that you have had.
That's what I keep.
Could you imagine when if streaming existed when we played Final Fantasy? Like,
Oh, it would have been a lot more popular than it was.
oh, it
before.
would have been insane. Yeah.
It just had really unfortunate timing. World of Warcraft came out at around the same time.
Yeah, it was literally like 6 months later.
There's a pearl.
Yeah, and City of Heroes also was around that same time.
Molly is on the way.
And it was
You called Molly?
it was bad timing for 11 for a game that was difficult and required teamwork. It was not easy, and it was bad timing.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what happened when WoW came out. Like before, like as we all probably know, Final Fantasy 11 was based on EverQuest. Like it's of that lineage, which, as you mentioned, is a very difficult, requires a lot of teamwork, is very unforgiving. Whereas WoW then came along and really mainstreamed MMOs and made them a lot easier and a lot more solo friendly and not quite as, not that it wasn't complex and demanding, but it wasn't the same level of like punishing that 11 was. And that,
You
you know, again,
You didn't lose 10% of a level every time you died in
Right.
and you could de-level from dying.
Well, and you could fast
not that
travel
you could,
everywhere, basically.
you did.
Too.
You did de-level.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready for this?
Oh, hold on. There's a starch
No,
nut
we
up
still
here
need, we
somewhere.
need
I
a couple more
wanna go.
blooms, don't we?
Oh.
I just got 2.
I was collecting stuff.
I'm gonna
Let me-
die. Farewell.
You
Goodbye,
live.
cruel world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like there was definitely a time in the market where there was like it was like a tug of war on casual versus hardcore, and there wasn't really a middle ground for a lot of those MMOs at the time. Like there was Aeon that came out a little bit after that.
Aeons ago.
Yeah, aeons ago, exactly. But it was also very much geared towards the hardcore audience and not the casual audience. World of Warcraft scratched the itch of casual and had a little bit of hardcore at the end of it. Final Fantasy XI was hardcore the entire way through. Like, if you didn't have friends, if you were a toxic, asshole, to hopefully not flag you guys in whatever you guys share this podcast on, you weren't going to get invited to parties. People knew who you were. It was very...
Yeah, you had a reputation. Yep.
Yeah. And that really fed into it. Like I said earlier, I would do merit parties and I would scare people off and I would be called many, many names, but that gave me a reputation and people would reach out to me and say, hey, we want you to be a bard for a party, even though I wasn't even on bard. But that was Final Fantasy XI. Some of that may actually be a good thing, that the game was never huge because the player base was small enough that you could keep track of all of the people, and it wasn't like 10 million people are playing this game. It's 4,000 people are playing this game on your server. And that probably made that manageable. So maybe
Nikes. Sorry.
Maybe streaming would have ruined Final Fantasy XI.
It's an interesting take. So, going back to the heyday of
I have the rest of the blooms, by the way.
MMORPGs, do you remember, or have you heard of, was it Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen? Have you been following that at all?
No.
It's supposed to be it's supposed to be a throwback to the days of yore, when MMOs used to be difficult, when classes had meaning and purpose and individuality, right? Because right now, like, every class has some kind of healing, some kind of tank ability, some kind of damage, and all that stuff. And back in the days that we're talking about of Final Fantasy XI, like, if you were a healer, you were going to be squishy as F, right? And if you're a DPS, you're probably not going to have much vitality either, and all that kind of stuff. So, if you're a tank, you're not going to put out that much damage. There was individuality to the classes that you played, and this game's supposed to be a throwback to those times. So it's one that's on the radar that we've talked about on this podcast a few times. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and they blatantly say, like, you are going to have to party with people in order to get things done in this game. And we don't just mean endgame dungeons, we mean leveling, simple tasks, things like that. Like, it's basically the things that we loved, or think we loved, about Final Fantasy XI, and the developers are not holding back at all and saying, this is going to be a hard game. So, if you want to play it, just know you're going to need to be part of the community. You're not going to be able to solo everything. Classes are going to have individuality. Go have fun. We're not going to hold your hand on this. And I'm like, that sounds awesome to me.
I'm gonna start this up.
Yep.
Unless you guys want to.
Please.
Yeah, no, it's I have, like, there's a lot of MMOs that I've played. I tend to... Oh yeah, this is the good group.
I knew it was going to have sisters.
I tend to move towards, like, the more difficult the better, the more convoluted and less straightforward the better MMO. Just because there's a lot of learning and I enjoy that. But one of the biggest ones on my list that I played with some friends of mine back in the day, before Final Fantasy XI came around, was Asheron's Call. And it was unique, and it was similar to EverQuest, where the more you did something, the more skill you got in that thing. And that was fun. The thing with Asheron's Call was there wasn't a cap. So the more you punch something, the better your unarmed got, and you could eventually out-damage people if all you did is punch things. If you got hit in the face a bunch, your tanking went up, like your defense. And it was completely unrelated to your levels. So you could be a level 10 that spent all day getting punched in the face by something, and you could out-tank a level 50 because that's all you did all day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And like I really enjoyed that mechanic where levels didn't matter so much as just your dedication to doing what you wanted to do. And
Oh my goodness.
I saw
Did
that.
you see
was
that?
crazy.
Yeah, I was right behind you.
yeah, like I want to work on the MMO with Riot, but I do understand the fact that the things I like in a game aren't what is going to drive the market.
Right.
So, like, I don't want to promise anything or say I want to do anything because ultimately, if a game doesn't do well and it doesn't make money, then the game shuts down. As
Right.
you've seen, this is why Asheron's Call isn't around anymore. But I would love to see a lot of those old school mechanics kind of brought back up again and in a way that's fun. And not like some of the other MMOs. Like Aeon did kind of a really crappy job of it. Like it was a fun game, but you didn't really feel like your character was yours. You felt like you were your class. And I kind of miss the old days of doing what you want to do. So they need to stop burrowing.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, I start shooting at them.
The one's almost down. Nice. No more healing for you.
Nope. You're gonna go down real quick. See ya. Nicely done, gentlemen.
Nicely
I
done.
take all credit.
Nicely gentlemen.
Feel much better now.
All right, well, I think this is probably after this mission. I mean, we're starting to wrap up here, so do we have any final thoughts or questions? Anybody got any questions for ZZ? Any final thoughts for us? What, anything else you want to say before we go? And also, am I good to push this button?
Any final thoughts?
Heyo.
Push the button.
Push the button.
I guess if nothing else, like, absolutely. If you ever have any questions or want to dig deeper into any of this other stuff, I'm also half distracted because I'm trying to like set up zip lines and I'm trying to fly around.
Yeah,
it's hard to really concentrate on a lot of these things I'm talking about. So by all means, I would be more than willing to do another one. I died. I ran underneath this thing. But yeah, I'd be more than willing to do another one of these.
Front and center on the stream, by the way. That was awesome.
Yeah, just hit me up.
Getting supplies.
And I guess just a personal plug. I do stream every now and then as well.
Ready yet?
Throw your handle out there.
Yeah, it's Fearless Leader, PHEERLESSLITER. That's basically my social on everything. Unless it's League related, then it's Riot Kernel Panic. But yeah, I stream a bunch of random shitty games. Or crappy games, sorry.
Sorry. I think we're under the limit.
Okay, good. But yeah,
I've heard worse
everything
than popular
from
streamers.
random Japanese games to puzzles to Metroidvanias. I like the off-the-cuff games and not the hugely mainstream ones like COD and stuff like that. So yeah, hit me up. And bring me in if you ever want to talk more about Riot or what I do.
You know, we might have to do.
Or retro games.
We might have to do a Minecraft stream as well, and I think since you're the gracious host, we really would have to get you in on that one.
Yeah, for sure. And I've got a giant retro collection of games that I'd love to talk about as well. My giant bookshelf behind me is just part of it. I have everything from Atari 2600 up to, well, only PlayStation 4 because PlayStation 5 is a little difficult to get a hold of at the moment.
Yeah, it is. As has been well chronicled by this particular podcast.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Well, congratulations on 2 successful missions. That was good. And I guess I guess that's probably about it. So thanks for being with us today, Z. We appreciate your insights, sharing what you could with us. This has been season 3, episode 83 of the Focus Target podcast. A little bit different today, but let us know if you've got any feedback for us on the podcast. What did you think of this format? Was it cool to have a podcast going while we were streaming something? Was it too confusing? We'd love to get your feedback. We'd love to hear what you think of this to kind of help guide whether this is something we want to do more or less often. Reach out to us. Our Twitter handle is @FocusTarget. Our YouTube page is Focus Target Podcast. You can watch this podcast again if you missed it earlier on. If you want to see the game we're streaming, if you're just listening right now on the podcast, you can check us out on YouTube. You'll be able to see this whole video. And then we also have an email, focustargetpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. That's it. Thanks for being with us today. I am your host, Smiley.
This is Shy.
And I'm Van. Thanks for being here, Z. Cover us, Porkins. We're out.
And guest C, hey, thanks for having me.
Let us know if you want to see more Z also. CZ.
Yeah.
That's right.